You are aware of that, aren't you? You understand that life isn't merely something you live, it's something you actively create. That each moment, each experience, each challenge isn't occurring to you but rather through you. The majority hold the belief that they are detached from the surrounding world. They think their thoughts and feelings exist internally, while reality is an external thing unfolding around them. But consider this. What if that's the most profound deception? Modern quantum theory, age-old spiritual insights, and the essence of consciousness all lead to an unavoidable fact. The observer and the observed are one. And in this session, you'll discover the real significance of this. When you truly understand this idea, not only in your mind, but through experience, you'll gain the power to reshape your reality as you desire. So continue watching, because by the time this video concludes, you'll have made the initial move toward escaping the deception. You'll then enter your authentic strength. For ages, mystics and researchers alike have suggested the same astonishing reality. Existence isn't a constant. It's not an external process. Instead, it's continuously molded by you in the present moment. Let's begin with the scientific evidence. Back in 1801, the physicist Thomas Young carried out an experiment that forever altered our comprehension of reality. The double-slit experiment. Here's the sequence of events. When electrons were sent through two openings without being watched, they acted as waves, expanding into numerous potential states simultaneously. But as soon as an observation was made, their behavior shifted. They condensed into one definite arrangement, behaving as particles rather than waves. Simply put, the mere act of watching altered the result. This goes beyond a theoretical scientific idea. It implies that your consciousness, your concentration, your focus, your deliberate observation are actively forming the reality you encounter. And if that holds, what implications does it have for your personal life, your connections, your achievements, your whole being? This leads us to perhaps the most significant spiritual insight ever. Jiddu Krishnamurti, a deeply influential spiritual philosopher of the 1900s, stated that the observer and the observed are identical. Initially, this may appear contradictory, but let's examine it closely. When you experience fear and perceive it in others, is that because they are afraid or because fear resides inside you? If you think others are untrustworthy and you end up encountering deceit, does that stem from their lack of reliability or from your own focus on suspicion? When you witness love, elegance, and compassion around you, is that due to the world's innate goodness or because you are aligned with those qualities within yourself? This is the insight. You are not distinct from what you perceive. Your environment reflects your inner condition, and as soon as you recognize this, you acquire the capability to transform it. Given that you now grasp your unity with what you witness, the subsequent query is, how can you occupy the role of the observer and commence altering reality? First step, conscious awareness. Observe without responding. The majority operate in a reactive state. An event occurs, they respond. A remark is made, they respond. A thought emerges, they respond. But consider doing the opposite. Rather than reacting, just watch. Next time you're provoked by a statement, a circumstance, or an unpleasant idea, take a moment and refrain from reacting. Pull back and observe, and question yourself, who exactly is witnessing this response? This straightforward action dissolves the attachment to the feeling or cognition. It establishes a space between yourself and your habitual reactions, and within that space resides your strength. The psyche is trained to reiterate habits. When you keep focusing on scarcity, your thoughts produce more of it. And when you continually fixate on boundaries, your thinking strengthens those boundaries. Yet, what occurs when you stop and alter your focus? Rather than noticing scarcity, you notice plenty. Rather than noticing dread, you notice bravery. Rather than noticing restriction, you notice boundless potential. As you do this repeatedly, your actuality starts to change in response. Stage 3. The quantum jump, opting for a fresh perspective. Having grasped awareness and the pause, the last stage is deliberately pick what you focus on. You aren't merely watching life unfold. You are actively creating it each instant, and you are aligning yourself with a particular reality version. Thus, the issue becomes, which version are you viewing? The one where you feel trapped or the one where you are boundless? The one where you are fighting or the one where you flourish? The one filled with fear or the one filled with affection? Since each version is present, the sole distinction is which frequency you are receiving. Many individuals live under the impression that the world is something external that occurs to them. They assume that their feelings are automatic reactions to happenings outside and that their situations are mostly unmanageable. But currently, you realize this is a false belief. Existence is not static. It is continuously formed each moment by your manner of perception, and this is the most profound key to transforming your existence. Since the watcher equals the watched, that implies you do not have to impose changes externally. You simply have to shift your perspective. Furthermore, when your viewpoint shifts, the environment shifts alongside. Yet, if that's accurate, why do the majority have difficulty altering their actuality? The cause most folks feel trapped in cycles is straightforward. They merge with their feelings, ideas, and convictions. What does that entail? That when they experience fright, worry, or uncertainty, they fail to see they are just noticing a mental condition. Rather, they embody that condition. That's the mechanism of identification. You sense rage and conclude you are a furious individual. You sense dread and conclude the danger is genuine. You undergo defeat and conclude you are incompetent. The issue is that as long as you are merged with your ideas and feelings, you will stay entrapped. You are unable to modify them. You can only alter something from an external standpoint, precisely what the observer condition grants: a detached, impartial, unbiased viewpoint. The positive tidings: you can master reaching this state immediately. Now that you comprehend that your actuality mirrors your method of observation, how might you begin altering your perspective practically? Below are 3 strong measures to access the observer condition and start deliberately forming your situation. Stage 1. Break identification. Cease being governed by the psyche. This initial stage is straightforward yet exceptionally potent. Pause and watch your own thinking. The mind is perpetually in motion, constructing narratives, assessments, and reflexive responses. Yet the crucial understanding is that you are separate from the mind. Try this hands-on activity, shut your eyes, and permit any idea to surface. Rather than interacting, simply watch and inquire within yourself who it is that is perceiving these ideations. As soon as you attempt this, a change occurs. You become aware of a gap between yourself and your thoughts, and that gap constitutes the observer condition. The additional you rehearse this detachment, the more you liberate yourself from reflexive merging and commence viewing existence just as it genuinely is. Having acquired the skill to separate from the mind, the subsequent stage is to widen your awareness. To detect the concealed frameworks molding your actuality, attempt this impactful activity. Grab a notebook and write down, what patterns of recurring thoughts and emotions do you notice in your life? Consider, are these patterns only happening in your head, or are they also appearing in the world around you? Notice the link between your inner feelings and what you see externally. You'll uncover something surprising. The identical challenges, frustrations, or limitations you face aren't random. They are direct mirrors of your inner observations and beliefs. Once you become conscious of these patterns, you gain mastery over them. Step 3. Adjust to a new frequency, picking the reality you wish to inhabit. Since you're no longer attached to your thoughts and have recognized the patterns influencing your reality, now comes the crucial phase. Deliberately decide what you focus on. Here's the essential point. Whatever you concentrate on will expand. If you devote your days to thinking about lack, scarcity, and fear, your mind will keep strengthening those perspectives. Your external circumstances will mirror that. Yet the reverse holds as well. If you begin noticing opportunities rather than constraints, your mind will start reinforcing that fresh viewpoint. Your outer world will match this new frequency. Here's a straightforward practice to train this transformation. Pick one area of your life where you feel stuck. Rather than dwelling on the issue, intentionally focus solely on possibilities and solutions. Do this consciously every day until your perspective shifts naturally. It might feel forced initially, but over time, This rewires your mind to see a different reality, and the most powerful aspect, once your viewpoint changes, your external reality begins to change on its own. Now that you've mastered the 3 steps of the shift, how can you tell you've truly become the observer? Here are 3 obvious indicators that you're viewing reality differently. You feel more serene and mentally clear. Your feelings and thoughts no longer control you. You identify hidden patterns. You begin to realize how your beliefs and viewpoints shape your reality. You react less impulsively. What used to emotionally upset you now seems unremarkable or unimportant. If you've seen any of these signs, great job. You are no longer merely a character in life's game. You have become the mindful observer. And that gives you the power to choose how you experience reality, now that you understand the observer and the observed are one. Having learned how to enter the observer state, you might wonder, since my observation shapes reality, how can I intentionally craft the future I want? The surprising truth is, you don't have to build a new reality. It already exists. Just like in the double-slit experiment, where a particle exists in many states until it's measured, your future already exists in several versions. And the sole factor that decides which version you encounter is the one you align with. So, how do you accomplish that? This chapter will guide you deeply into the process of collapsing possibilities and harmonizing with the version of you that already exists. In your desired timeline, prepare yourself, because once you grasp this, your view of reality will be forever transformed. Picture reality as a quantum field containing endless potential. At this moment, a version of you is already prosperous, plentiful, and content. There exists a version of you trapped in repetitive cycles, and another version living a life entirely different from what you currently know. These are not mere abstract concepts. They are genuine, concrete actualities within the quantum field, awaiting your awareness to bring them into your personal reality. Here lies the key. You are not transforming into something else. You are merely aligning with an alternate self that is already present, and the method is easier than you imagine. First step, recognize your present vibration. What frequency are you resonating with? To move into a different reality, you must first understand what you are currently focusing on. Ponder the following. Which recurring themes appear in my life? What feelings do I regularly encounter? What convictions do I strengthen each day? The life you now have is not accidental. It stems directly from your primary attention, emotional state, and anticipations. Therefore, the initial move toward transformation is being brutally truthful about where your focus has dwelled. Without altering what you perceive, your experiences will remain unchanged. Second step, become the version of yourself living in your ideal reality. Many believe this is when the real change occurs. People often think they must labor intensely to reshape their existence. But the quantum reality is that exerting more effort doesn't alter it. Transformation happens when you fully become the self that already possesses what you seek. This is the process. Gain clarity about the version of yourself that already resides in your desired path. What are the thoughts of that self? What are their daily emotions? What actions do they routinely perform? Start adjusting your inner condition to mirror that existence. Rather than postponing feelings of abundance until success arrives, experience abundance in this very moment. Rather than waiting for love to make you feel valuable, embrace your worth instantly, without needing evidence. Trust that it is already unfolding. Inhabit that state as though it is already true. Choose your actions from the perspective of your future identity and talk as though your life has transformed. Conduct yourself with the absolute confidence that your new existence is unavoidable. When your inner frequency changes, the outer environment must align accordingly. Third step, strengthen the newly chosen timeline. Maintain your coherence after you begin living as the self in your preferred reality. Your previous existence might attempt to drag you back. This occurs due to long-standing habitual energies you have nurtured over time. To remain congruent with your new existence, avoid responding to previous situations. View them as residual energy from the past, not indicative of your current path, and fully dedicate yourself to your fresh identity. Treat it as an absolute necessity. Encircle yourself with supporting influences. Engage with material books, videos, and other media that resonates with your transformed self, such as this content and platform. The more you persist in this vibration, the quicker your former life will fade away and your desired existence will become your everyday reality. This is the turning point. When you cease seeking evidence and begin acting as though your new life is already a fact, existence reshapes itself to conform to your new perception, since the one who perceives and the perceived are one. The trick is to remain in that condition sufficiently for the change to become lasting. Now, you cease being a mere spectator in your life and begin actively steering your reality with full awareness. Your future is not a destination you approach. It is a decision you make in each instant. The real question is, which version of yourself are you selecting right now? How can I prevent myself from reverting to my old reality? This is where many people encounter difficulty. They start to transform, they feel the thrill of stepping into a fresh version of themselves, and then an obstacle arises. Familiar doubts emerge, a known difficulty shows up again. They awaken feeling as though nothing has shifted, and without realizing it, they've fallen back into their old timeline. But why does this happen? Because they never fully secured the transformation. Today, you'll discover how to make your new reality stick, so that you encounter not just a short-lived change, but a thorough reconfiguration of your reality at the most fundamental level. The state you predominantly inhabit determines which reality you encounter. Imagine it as a radio station. When your frequency is unsteady, you'll keep jumping between different channels. When your frequency is fixed, you'll consistently experience just one reality. That's why some people shift their reality once and never return, while others keep fluctuating, never truly escaping. The key difference: one group anchored their new state of being, and now you'll learn to do the same. Step 1. Sever the old timeline. No more draining of energy. Each time you interact with your former self, you fuel that timeline with energy. Here's how it unfolds. You have an emotional reaction to a past stimulus. You start to doubt and look for reassurance from your history. You revert to previous routines, even if just briefly. Every instance does this is akin to reopening a door that was nearly shut. The initial step to cementing your shift is straightforward. Quit providing energy to the past reality. Here's how you achieve it. Make a firm choice. Choose at this moment that the former version of you no longer exists. Not "I'm attempting, but it's finished." Remove triggers. If something draws you back, disengage. Observe it, notice it, but do not respond emotionally. Disrupt the pattern. If an old habit starts to emerge, break it, instantly move, alter your surroundings, redirect your attention. The more often you do this, the weaker the old timeline becomes until it eventually vanishes completely. Step 2. Emotional anchoring, retraining your physique for the new reality. Your body is crucial in maintaining you locked into a specific reality if you've been accustomed to emotions like fear for years. Uncertainty, shortage, and anxiety. Your nervous system has become used to expecting them. So even when your mind comprehends the change, your body may still be tuned for the old experience. That's why it's essential to re-educate your nervous system to align with your new reality. Here's the method. Consciously produce the feelings of your new reality instead of waiting for external situations to give you a reason to feel sure. Experience it right now, powerful and full. Saturate your body with that emotion each day. The more you strengthen these new feelings, the more your body adapts, making them your automatic baseline. Incorporate tangible anchors such as melodies, physical activity, breathing exercises, whatever enables your body to absorb the new vibration at a cellular level, and practice it regularly. Eventually, your physical self will align with your mental state, making the new reality effortless. The third stage involves an identity transformation, adopting a new version of yourself that is lasting. This is the ultimate and strongest action to ensure your new reality becomes fixed. You need to completely embody the self that already exists in this reality. No longer saying, "I wish I could," or "I'm attempting," but declaring, "I am already that person." To ensure this transformation is permanent, alter your speech patterns, avoid talking as your former self. Let every utterance strengthen your new reality. Choose instinctively. Pose the question, would the version of me that exists in my desired reality take this action? If the response is negative, refrain from doing it. Let go of your previous self entirely and cease defining yourself by past experiences. The frequency with which you discuss your former self keeps you rooted in that old reality. The crucial point is that when your new identity feels natural, your new reality solidifies. How can you tell that your new reality is now your baseline? These clear indicators will confirm it. The previous reality appears far away. When you reflect on it, it nearly seems as though a different person experienced that existence. There is no effort required to sustain the change. You no longer need to attempt. Your fresh mode of existence proceeds smoothly. Synchronicities emerge without strain. Unexpectedly, ideal situations and individuals manifest effortlessly. There is a fundamental shift in how you feel. Not only have your thoughts transformed, but your whole energetic vibration has changed. Once these indicators begin to appear, you can be sure the transformation is finished and your new reality is permanent. Having secured the shift and steadied your new timeline, the following phase involves mastering conscious reality navigation, since transitioning to a new reality is only the start. Imagine being able to transition smoothly between different realities, selecting experiences as you desire. In the upcoming section, you'll learn techniques to speed up time and manifest more quickly. You'll also find out how to change realities instantly and without any opposition. You'll discover how to apply sophisticated quantum methods to broaden your horizons beyond imagination. Once you have control over reality navigation, you transcend limitations, evolving into a deliberate reality explorer. By now, you've acquired the ability to enter the observer mode, dissolve previous timelines, and solidify your new reality. However, consider that this is merely the opening chapter. Imagine not being confined to a single reality, but being able to transition smoothly among various iterations of yourself. Freely, because reality is not fixed. You are not restricted to a unique timeline. At each instant, countless options are available, anticipating your selection of the next experience. This section focuses on perfecting the skill of moving through realities. By the conclusion, you'll possess the capability to change timelines deliberately, hasten the realization of desires, and reach experiences you previously deemed impossible. The fact regarding numerous timelines, each reality is present. Let's return to a point we discussed before. In the quantum field, every potential version of you is already present. At this moment, one version of you faces hardship, another is flourishing, and yet another has already brought everything you want into reality. The gap between your current state and the reality you wish to live in comes down to your observation. There's no need to build a new future, simply align with the timeline where it already is. Achieving that requires learning the art of conscious reality shifting. The actual mechanism. Many believe timeline shifting is mysterious and hard, yet it's remarkably straightforward. Here's how it works. Each timeline has its own unique vibration shaped by your prevailing emotions. Your thoughts and beliefs set your frequency, and once you match that of a different timeline, you naturally transition into it. This isn't about effort, it's about energetically matching the reality you want to live. When you achieve complete energetic alignment, the physical world must reconfigure itself to reflect that. First step, pinpoint the timeline you're aiming for. Without a clear destination, shifting realities is impossible. Therefore, the initial action is to become absolutely certain about the reality you intend to inhabit. Question yourself, what does that version of me look like? What are their daily feelings? What mindset and convictions does that version of me possess? The more distinct your vision, the simpler it is to resonate with that frequency. After gaining that clarity, move to step 2, locking in the frequency by fully adopting the energy of your chosen timeline. Many fail here. They know the reality they want, but still vibrate at their current timeline's frequency. To change realities, you need to function from that new frequency. Let me explain how. Attune to the emotions of your intended reality. If your target self exudes confidence, embrace that confidence immediately. If they feel abundant, experience abundance now. If that version is filled with peace, install peace within yourself right now. Let your behaviors match that version of you. Choose as though you're already inhabiting that timeline, and talk about it as though it's your current truth. Go about your daily life with the aura of someone who already possesses their goals. Maintain that frequency regardless of circumstances. The outer world might need time to catch up. Avoid responding to past habits and remain anchored in your new state, even when no visible changes occur. The transition occurs when you cease seeking proof and simply live as though it's already accomplished. Third step, quantum leaping, the technique for immediate shifting. A method exists to speed up the process, saving you from months or years of waiting. This approach is known as quantum leaping. The procedure: select your desired reality. Become perfectly clear about the timeline you desire. Shut your eyes and imagine walking into that version of you. Sense the transition occurring immediately. Rather than perceiving it as distant, realize that the change has already taken place. Upon waking, behave as though you're already inhabiting the desired reality. Although it seems straightforward, this is among the quickest methods to transition between timelines. Why? The mind can't distinguish actuality from imagination. When you vividly perceive the shift as real within yourself, external reality will eventually conform. Step 4. Preserving the new timeline. Preventing regression. After you transition into a fresh timeline, the greatest error is reverting to former habits. To prevent that, avoid giving any space to uncertainty. The second you begin to doubt, you undermine the transition. Disregard prior stimuli if remnants of the past resurface. Refrain from responding. Treat it as a trial. Strengthen your updated identity each day through meditation, visualization, and immersing yourself in the new reality every morning. The more extended you maintain this frequency, the more enduring the transformation. Eventually, the previous reality will seem so far away that you'll barely recall living within it. That is the sign you have completely settled. You have now mastered entering the observer state and understanding that reality does not occur to you, it occurs through you. Dissolve previous timelines and transition into the self you wish to become. Solidify a fresh reality until it becomes your automatic baseline. Move among realities with ease and intention, selecting experiences rather than merely responding. Only one closing question is left. What unfolds when every restriction is eliminated? Suppose the sole barrier to experiencing unbounded growth was simply the conviction that you were incapable. Because the truth is this: no genuine limitations ever existed. Each boundary you perceived as real was merely a mental creation, and today we dismantle every one of them. This marks the point where you cease shrinking and unleash your limitless nature. Since birth, you have been trained to accept restrictions, limits on what can be achieved, on what you merit, and on what is deemed practical. Yet these were never true. They were collectively upheld realities inherited from others who likewise embraced them as fact. The instant you cease to acknowledge these boundaries, they vanish, as constraints thrive solely on your belief. As soon as you recognize them as mere illusions, they disintegrate. This is the starting point of your empowerment. With no genuine limits, you are free to become, accomplish, and encounter anything. Thus, how does one enter this condition of absolute boundlessness? The procedure begins with step 1. Examine each conviction that seems restrictive. Whenever you catch yourself thinking, "That's impossible, I'll never manage that, it's too overwhelming," pause and inquire, who informed me of this? What is the origin of this conviction? Consider if the contrary were actually accurate. In 9% of cases, you'll discover it's merely a subconscious acceptance. However, upon questioning, it forfeits its hold over you. Then, substituting it with a conviction in limitless potential causes reality to adjust accordingly. Stage 2. Broaden your outlook. Assuming no boundaries existed, what would you pick? The majority of individuals prevent themselves from envisioning the existence they genuinely desire, since at their core, they worry it's excessive. Yet, what if you eliminated that worry? If you were completely sure that there were no restrictions, what would you bring into being? How would you spend your days? What effect would you have? To what extent would you let yourself feel happiness, affection, liberty, and prosperity? Have the courage to envision more boldly than you ever have, since the sole barrier to that existence is your readiness to select it. Stage 3. Manifest boundlessness. Everyday existence as the unbounded self. That's the ultimate secret. You don't turn into limitless at some future point. You become limitless the instant you resolve to be. This is how to weave that reality into your routine. Take every choice from the perspective of your unbounded self. Pose the query, what would my strongest, limitless self do at this moment? Then take action from that viewpoint. Always reject boundaries as fact. If something seems like an obstacle, see it as a delusion and redirect your attention to what is achievable. Encircle yourself with growth. Consume material that confirms unlimited opportunity. Steer clear of settings and individuals that strengthen restriction. Maintain this practice regularly, and before long you'll have no recollection of what restriction felt like, since you'll have entirely embraced your unbounded self. By now, you're not merely responding to life, watching what's real, moving among options. You've turned into the originator. You currently recognize that you aren't simply within reality. You are molding it. Your decisions, ideas, and force determine what occurs subsequently. Boundaries are non-existent, only what you permit yourself to accept. And with that insight, you become liberated. Liberated to produce, liberated to grow, liberated to encounter existence at its maximum degree. At this point, your expedition genuinely commences. For now, you don't only have faith in endless potentials. You inhabit them right now. Only a single action remains. Pose the question to yourself. What actions would I take if I genuinely thought I had no bounds? What would I bring forth, undergo, and welcome into my existence? What move can I make today to manifest that reality? Since the instant you perform that action, the cosmos reacts, but there's a catch. Comprehending this is merely the initial phase. The genuine change takes place when you condition your thoughts to integrate it. Many individuals revert to previous habits, former restrictions, purely because their subconscious remains programmed in that manner. And that's the reason. The quickest method to completely adopt this unbounded existence is to reprogram your subconscious. At the most profound level, that is when theta waves are introduced. Theta represents a brainwave condition where your subconscious is receptive and modifiable. Fresh convictions are impressed without effort. Restrictions vanish, and growth feels innate. The simplest method to reach this transformative frequency involves awakening inactive areas of your mind, linking you anew to your authentic strength.